尊敬的卢董事长、肖董事长, distinguished guests, I'm actually also have a similar struggle like what Duncan had, whether to deliver my speech in English or in Chinese. But I feel like I'm going to talk about technology anyway, so it's going to be a foreign language for most of the audience here. So it doesn't really matter. All right, so today I'm going to actually share our perspectives on how to build a cross-institution value exchange infrastructure to support the Web3 strategy in Hong Kong. First of all, a bit of background on WeBank. We started in 2014 as the very first digital bank in China. We are now serving more than 400 million customers, individual customers, and 5 million institutional micro SME. A few of the numbers that we are very proud of. Our peak single-day transaction is 1.4 billion transaction per day. Financial transaction in a day, 1.4 billion. Our cost of maintaining a bank account is 30 cents US per account per year. Well, it's actually 1/10 of what other state-owned banks in China are paying. And also product availability, 5 nines, telco grade, essentially non-stop services, 7/24. So these are the numbers that we are very proud of, and the technology capabilities that we are able to build over the years actually enable us to do a lot of thinking around how do we leverage the capabilities that we had. So last year in June, we actually set up a technology company in Hong Kong, a tech subsidiary called WeBank Technology Services, and we tried to really offer digital solutions to other institutions, banks, or other FIs in Hong Kong, and also try to help out to build out the digital infrastructure for the market. Also, we are very AI heavy. We do a lot of things in an AI native way, so we also try to offer AI native solutions to the market as well. Okay. Blockchain is definitely an area that we very much focus on. Since 2016, we actually have put together a dedicated team to do blockchain R&D. So far, we think we have done a reasonable job on that. The fiscal BCOS platform, in fact, when we first started BCOS, is actually with Wanxiang Lab in 2017. So many thanks to Xiao Dongzijang, because we got a lot of support from him to build the very first version of BCOS. And now the platform, high performance, just like the banking solutions that we offer to the market, 200,000 transactions per second. That's the kind of concurrency that we can support, and also very high security standard, because we are bank grade, we run a bank. We want to make sure that the technology that we built is able to support really robust financial operation. And also tech ready. We are a regulated entity. We work under regulation from day one, so we want to make sure that everything that we build is regulator friendly to begin with. And we did it in an open source way. So we open source the full code base to the public, so anyone can read every single line of the source code that we have. No backdoor, no security loophole. Everything is robust. And also, we try to be compatible with all the cryptographic algorithms out there in the market, making sure that it's not just be compliant with the local Chinese the standards requirement, but also be able to support the technology going abroad. So far, we have been very successful in building out the ecosystem in China. We have more than 500 live applications running on our blockchain platform. One of them actually relevant to Hong Kong is the cross-border data validation platform that we have built between Shenzhen and Hong Kong. And one of the applications that we apply on is to validate the education credentials, because there used to be quite a few fraudulent cases for students applying for higher education in Hong Kong, right? And we really want to leverage data to validate the authenticity and also the integrity of the credential that students supply when they apply for college in Hong Kong. Also, a lot of the output from the development that we had is standards, right? We participated in a lot of ISO and IEEE and also the local Chinese standards as well. Okay, so much so about the WeBank and Fiscal Beacons. Going back, why are we interested in doing blockchain from the beginning, from the very beginning? Well, it's the promise. It's the promise from blockchain technology. To begin with, I think blockchain is really trying to cause disruption to the financial industries. A lot of promises we very much agree with, right? There are too much intermediaries right now in the traditional financial systems. Efficiency is low, cost is high, right? If you look at like cross-border remittance, T+1, T+2, very typical, right? Why can't we do it in real time, right? So blockchain come up with the proposition that you can rely on algorithm. There's no intermediaries involved. It can be very, very efficient. It can be very, very low cost. That's the promise. If you look at 2015, the cover page of The Economist actually say that blockchain can become the trust machine. So look at the development of blockchain technology over the years. Since the very first Bitcoin being minted in 2009, we see a lot of like transaction model evolving. From the very beginning, everybody think that, oh, well, Bitcoin is so amazing, right? So it can be doing like real-time DVP. It's very true. If everything sit on a single chain. However, this is never going to be the case because since Bitcoin, there are already a lot of like variations. There are a lot of new public chains coming out, lots of new classes of digital assets coming out. It's not going to ride on a single chain, right? Not to talk about the fact that a lot of the traditional financial assets actually reside on non-blockchain. A lot of traditional financial registries, right? So how do we support that, right? OTC, right? This is a very typical way of doing transactions in the financial systems, over-the-counter transactions, right? But there will be counterparty risk that we have to take care of, right? There are also very innovative players in the market come up with technologies, leveraging MPC technologies to do key sharding, right? Like cutting your key, private key in 3 parts, and the trading partner each of them keep one of them, and the other sit on a custody. Right? But in introduction of a new custodian role, again, is an additional risk, is an additional intermediary, right? There are also ideas about decentralized exchanges, right? Again, we see a lot of very innovative ideas to do a smart contract, to do a lot of like cross-chain technology to support decentralized exchange. However, wrapping one type of assets onto another chain to do transactions will cause fragmentation. Again, this will lead to issues around liquidity, right? So, and a lot of those decentralized exchange mechanisms may not be fully optimized for performance either, right? So at the end of the day, we go back to the very traditional approach, build centralized exchange, right? So that's why we have like regulations around how to regulate all these new types of virtual assets exchange. There's nothing bad about it, right? Because doing exchange using this kind of intermediary is a very traditional way, very mature way of how you do transactions. However, right, we also see that because of a new type of exchange come out, there will be new type of regulations that come along. So the burden of regulations come back again. So the compliance cost is rising tremendously at a tremendous speed. I'm sure in the audience today, there are quite a few of them, right? Also in virtual assets exchange, right? They will feel the pressure, they will feel the pain as well. So how do we tackle this problem Is there any way that we can actually balance the goals of achieving efficiency, security, and also stay low cost around compliance? We believe there is, right? We can actually try to develop a infrastructure who can support different types of virtual assets and then really decouple the so-called tokenization and the transaction model. Get them fully decoupled. They don't need to tie up to each other, right? You don't need to ride on a single chain to do everything. And on security aspect, how do you do atomic swap? Atomicity is really the key. How do you make sure that the buyer and the seller, they will be able to complete your transactions in real time without any delay, without doing the traditional clearing and settlement process? DVP, I mean, essentially in the financial world, delivery versus payment is the problem that we need to address, need to solve ultimately. Also on compliance, we don't want additional burden on regulations. We want to come light with compliance. We want to stick with the existing regulations and make sure that there won't be additional requirement being imposed. Is there a way to do that? We believe so, okay? We still believe that there's a way to really reconstruct the trust machine, leveraging technology, but definitely not by technology itself, okay? We want to have a very robust, high-performance underlying chain to be able to support the different types of virtual assets, RWAs, to be linked into the infrastructure. We want full decoupling of tokenization and transactions. We want DVP. We want atomic swap of these transactions happening in real time. And however, to do that, we can't just rely on technology. That need to be partners in the legal space, in other financial industries, to be able to provide the support, provide instruments to really ensure that can happen. Also on compliance, we really want to be able to group the participants, the trading partners, according to regulators, okay, so that they can stick with the existing regulations and really don't need to do anything in addition. As I mentioned, it's not going to be just by technology itself. WeBank Technologies in Hong Kong, we have taken the lead to set up a platform, what we call the Portal of the Orient Symposium. Okay, Hong Kong is called the Pearl of the Orient, right? So we want to set up this symposium to really invite partners with like mindsets, with similar intentions to join force with us and to build out the next generation public infrastructure, which will unlock the full potential of WeBank for the continuous and healthy growth of Web3. Okay, so that's my sharing today. Thank you.